I believe Brooke did speak to them about limiting.
No, I mean, are they ready right
good.
now? Can we start? That's what I meant.
Oh, that I don't know.
I'll tell you right now.
Okay.
I just shot him a message.
It looks like it, but I can't say for sure.
Oh. Let me make sure they're.
All right, we're good, Gene.
Okay. The rescheduled monthly meeting and preliminary budget adoption of March 18th, 2021 is called to order at 7:32 p.m. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Barbarulo.
Here.
Ms. Vavelovich.
Unmute yourself.
Here, sorry.
Mr. Akin.
Here.
Mrs. Mahan.
Present.
Ms. Quackenbush.
Here.
He answered.
Yeah, I think Brooke froze.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Thank you.
Here.
Mr. Santana,
Present.
Mr. Spindell,
Present.
Mr. Banta.
Here. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law is enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of the public bodies in which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Fair Loan Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof distributed to the persons on the approved list, posted in the Board of Education Administrative Office, and sent to the Bergen Record and the Star Ledger. The announcement posting for the rescheduled monthly meeting, along with the date, time, and place thereof, was distributed on March 16, 2021. Items to be discussed during closed work session of March 16, 2021 may include personnel matters, student matters, legal matters, negotiations and or grievances, and tactics and techniques utilized in protecting public safety and property. Results of these discussions will be public as soon as possible. Public participation of board meetings can be had through Zoom, and all the instructions are on the website. Would you join me in the flag salute, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States of America,
and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Nick, you have a couple of comments before we get started?
Yeah, very brief, especially after having a 3-hour and 45-minute meeting last week. I think we covered a lot. My comments are that we are on track for the reopening school for April 12th. Obviously, we're waiting for the results from all the parents to come in. It shuts down this Sunday. In addition to that, our teachers have been rapidly getting vaccinated, which is nice because the county has offered up more sessions this Saturday for educators. So many of our teachers are vaccinated last week at Bergen Tech for all Bergen County teachers. In addition to that, Valley Hospital opened up vaccinations for educators as well. And our teachers have been signing up, and there's been a really high rate of staff members becoming vaccinated. Not just teachers, secretaries, transportation, custodian. It's been really, really positive lately with on that front. The second reading of the policy is on tonight, 5120. We made all the changes that were discussed at last week's meeting. And with that being said, we also covered the budget, which will be on for tonight's vote. That's all my comments for tonight, Gene.
Thank you, Nick. All right, at this point, we're going to open it up for public comments on the agenda. Who's the gatekeeper here?
Our techs will be letting them in one at a time. And please raise your hand if you're in audience, if you have any comments on the actual agenda. Just a note, reopening is not on the agenda. So if you have a question about the reopening of schools, that is not on the agenda. All right.
We will have other items after we go through the agenda, and the public will have an opportunity to speak at that time if they want to talk about something other than agenda items. Public comments are 3 minutes per person for approximately 30 minutes. If there's time and there's everyone who wishes to speak has spoken, we may be able to go back to people for a second comment. So,
First person, Mel Churchtower, please let her in the room.
hi, Mel.
Hey guys. No, not you.
Hi.
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 How cute.
So I just wanted to say real quick, sorry. I just wanted to say good evening, everyone. And I just wanted to comment on the retirement resolution of Sue B. I mean, I don't know who this Belinsky is because it's just Sue B. It's like one word, Sue B. Sue B started when my son, who you all just met really, was 3. He started at Edison 8 years ago now. Sue B was at Edison School, and she has just been like a ray of sunlight anywhere you go. Then now when my daughter is over at Westmoreland, every time she sees Sue, whether you're her student or not, she's always just such a happy, she's wonderful, and she's definitely going to be missed. And I wish we could do something to honor her, as Flace usually does when our special ed staff retires. But given this year's going to be a little wonky, we'll see if we could do something special for Sue B, because we will miss her. That's it.
Thank
Thanks.
you, Mel.
Thank you, Mel.
Is it anybody at this time? Nobody else has their hand up, but we'll give them another minute to see if anybody raises their hand. There's only a few participants in the waiting room tonight.
Yeah, so there's only like 9 or 10 now.
All right, nobody has their hand up. Gene, would you like to go to board member comments?
Yes, we'll go to board member comments. Let's start with board member comments. Do comments from the board. Cindy, Mark.
Thank you. I just wanted to recognize the retirement also of one of our paraprofessionals and wish her very well on many years of happiness on her retirement. And I also just wanted to make mention of the several scholarships that we have on the agenda tonight. I'm very proud to see all of the give back to our seniors, and just wanted to thank everybody for putting the time and the effort to put together a scholarship for our students. It's one of the highlights of my year is attending the scholarship awards. We give so much back to the children, and it's a great start for them as they start their college careers or their military careers or their whatever they choose to do. So I just wanted to publicly thank all of the people that put the scholarships together. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cindy. Mark?
Yes, I wanted to give thanks to the business department and all the other departments, as well as the staff who are involved in creating this budget. Special thanks to Brooke and Pat and their office for coordinating everything. I think this is one of the best budgets that we've ever put together. So I want to thank everybody again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Webb?
Good evening. A couple things. First, I just went online and I see that the policy that is attached to this agenda online is the first draft that we discussed last time, not what Nick sent us for the second draft. That annual capacity adjustment paragraph is online, on that version that's online.
My apologies. So the board members, you have all that, you have the most updated one.
Yes. So
Well, but tomorrow, once this is hopefully approved tonight, second reading, we'll put it up first thing tomorrow morning.
So just for public records, I want to say that we're approving in second reading not the policy that is now online, but a slightly different policy. What we're approving does not have a paragraph that is titled annual capacity adjustment for over-enrollment. This paragraph is removed from the policy we're approving tonight. Right?
Correct.
Okay, wonderful. Second topic. I'm very happy to vote yes for the budget tonight. Just looking ahead, as Brooke confirmed last time, we are planning to deposit $1.3 million back into maintenance budget at the end of the year. Fingers crossed, everything goes according to our plans. This is great. Also, we are, last time we picked option 1 or 2, it was option 1. We picked option 1, right. In other words, we did not choose option 2, which would have involved withdrawing additional $1.1 million. So basically we have 1.3 million in maintenance, 1.1 million that we're not withdrawing here. And again, hopefully, this will have a very, very good impact on the next school budgets, which is a 2022-23 budget. Hopefully it will be very good. And thank you to Brooke and to the administration for doing it. Thank you.
Thank you, Vlad.
Thanks, Vlad. Any other board members, questions or comments? Ron?
Yeah, I just want to thank all the people with the scholarships. As Cindy said, it's always great. It's one of the best nights of the year. Everybody trying to give back to the students, especially this year. The seniors have taken a pounding with this pandemic. And as usual, you know, Brooke and Pat, they finished this budget and it's like anything else. Okay, let's start next year already. So for all the work and everybody in the staff and the administration that put in a tremendous amount of time, again, as usual, it's a very, very excellent, well done budget. So I want to thank you as well, so personally. That's it.
Thank you, Ron. Any other board members, questions, comments? Mr. Santana?
Thank you, Mr. Vanta. Where do I start? Oh, first of all, I want to say, I want to recognize the, I guess the board secretary for the minutes. I know throughout the time that I've been on the board, I have asked for the minutes to be more detailed to the extent possible. And I have noticed a huge improvement in the minutes as compared to when I started on the board. So I'm glad that I have seen this positive change, and I'm here to say thank you, and it's duly noted. In terms of G2, the updated policy, Mr. Norcia, how can parents access the student? How will the parents be able to access the student assignment request form?
So the student request form, I believe, is on the registration tab, right in the middle of our website. You know what I'll do, Mr. Santana? Tomorrow, Ms. Wellinghorst puts out the board briefs to the community. We'll put directions on how exactly parents can access it there, and that goes out on social media and gets emailed out to the community as well.
Yeah, because
I believe
it should be there. I'm not telling you where it should be, but some people, you know, they're not very tech savvy. So the easier it is to find it for them, you know, I think that would be very useful. I will not be supporting the marigolds, as I have consistently been a strong opponent of marigolds for S2. For S3H, Mr. Norcia, if I'm a student and I get an out of school suspension, how does this work? do I report to the program, or do I do the work at home?
It's a specialized program, but I'm going to come back to that. There's a district registration tab under district information, and that's where parents can find the form there, Mr. Santana, that you had asked the first part of your question. Second question about the SAP program. It's the suspension alternative program.
Yes, I know what it is. I want to know, how does it work? Like, if I get suspended, I'm a student, how does it work?
I'm going to answer that. It's, it works with the high school administration. They will work with depending on the student, depending on the nature of it, and then they'll discuss it with the family. There's forms that are filled out. And then they could say, if this is an alternative that we're recommending, you could take a good opportunity from that rather than your son or daughter just staying home. And it's got a lot of benefits to it. So it's part of a process. It's not just every student who is suspended for whatever reason just goes into the SAP program. That's not how it works. It's just a better alternative than just providing discipline in a child being home by themselves and then coming back to school 3 days later or whatever it may be.
Thank you. Now for P4, I noticed we are converting a 10-month clerk into a 12-month data entry. Why is that?
No, P4 is actually, the person is being promoted from a 10-month clerk to a 12-month.
All right. P6B, I will not be supporting that, consistent with my position from last meeting. I believe the money should be spent adding more counselors so we can provide more individualized attention to our students. And this is not the time to add to our administrative costs. Now, I understand the managerial and the constraint the business office may have, but I would appreciate as a board member if we are kept up to date with the items on F3AB, because in none of the agendas they were listed up until today. So I just would like, as a board member, that the board be kept up to date with that. Like, if it has to be added in the last minute, I would like to know, to be kept up to date with that, because in none of the agendas, that amount was actually was never on any of the agendas we received up to the one, only up to the one for today that was posted online, not the one we received. And I take my time to read the agenda. We all have full-time jobs, we all have families in the weekend, but I have noticed that a lot of the questions that I have been sending are not answered, and some of the questions that I asked, they were answered not at once.
We're doing the agenda right now.
Agenda. I'm talking about the agenda. The questions that I asked.
You just said questions. You're talking about specific agenda questions. I just want to clarify.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So I would like, if it's possible,
30 seconds.
for me to receive the answers to the questions at once, not emails, because it is confusing. And in order for me to elaborate a good judgment on what I'm voting on, I would like to have the answers at once. That's it for now. Thank you, Mr. President.
So, Mr. Santana, just for the public, I would just like to address that for a second. We send the agenda home a week ahead of time. The board, myself, central office, we ask for any questions on the agenda that we could help answer prior to the board meeting. We received probably about 100 questions in the last week that central office takes their time out of running the school district to answer those 100 questions for the board members so that they're well informed prior to the meeting. 100 questions that we answer in depth, pages and pages and pages, that are taking us away from reopening the school district. Let's just let that sink in for a second. Reopening the school district is our main function right now and our top priority.
Part of the 100 questions, Mr. Norcia.
Mr. Santana.
Mr. Santana, you've not been
reclaiming my time. I have about 10 seconds left.
No, you don't, Mr. Santana.
Well, I would like to finish my remarks.
Mr. Santana, please wait to be recognized. do not interrupt the superintendent. If you want to ask him a question afterwards, I will allow it, but please let him finish.
We answer 100 questions, pages and pages and pages long, and I have no problem with it, but some of the questions aren't even about the agenda. Some of them are just yes or no questions, or whatever they may be. So we're doing our best to answer these questions. Like I said, Tuesday morning, we received probably 60 questions. We had turned it around by Wednesday morning. So if we answer 40 of them by Wednesday and the other 20 by Thursday, because we're still running the everyday business of what happens in a district our size, we apologize if it's not to the liking of everybody, but we're still trying to do our main priority and function, and that is to run the district and reopening schools. But we still answered every single question that comes our way, just like we always do.
Mr. Satan, you want to say something about the budget? You were holding it up.
Yes. Just, 2 sentences. The 100 questions, Mr. Norsa, you're referring to pertain to the $100 million plus budget and this very thick binder we receive. Now, our job as board members is to ask questions. The updated agenda, we received it on Tuesday, 2 days ago. Okay? Thank you, Mr. President.
Asking question and micromanaging are two very different.
All right, Nick, thank you very much.
That's your definition.
Thank you very much. Any other board members, questions or comments? No, okay. All right, we're gonna vote. Can I have a motion for G1 and G2, please?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Barbarulo,
Yes.
Ms. Pavelovich,
You're muted. She's muted.
Mr. Akin. I'll come back to you. Mr. Akin,
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan,
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Pavelovich,
Yeah. Yes.
Mr. Santana.
This is on G1 and G2?
Yes.
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 Mr. Spindell.
Yes, I also want to know, do we have a parliamentarian present tonight?
Mr. Roselle.
I'm right here, Mark. Mr.
Who's that?
Joe
Zelli.
Joe.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Banta.
Yes, did you get Rita?
Yes.
Okay. All right, could I have a motion for B1?
So moved.
Budget.
So moved.
Second.
Hey, call the roll, please.
Mr. Barbarulo,
Yes.
Ms. Pavelovich,
This is for B1, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Idkin,
Yes.
Brooke froze again.
Pat, you're up.
All right, Mr. Aitken,
She said
He
yes.
said yes.
He said yes.
Mrs. Mahan,
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Santana,
Yes.
Mr. Spindell,
Yes.
Mr. Banta.
Yes. Thank you. All right, could I have a motion for S1 through S3?
So moved.
Second.
Somebody like to read the retirement resolution?
I'll
Anybody?
read it. I'll read it.
Okay, thanks.
Whereas the retirees has dedicated themselves to the Fairlawn School District, displaying an unselfish commitment to our children, exemplifying the ideals of professionalism and the standard of excellence, has requested retirement. And whereas the Fairlawn Board of Education, together with its citizens, wishes to acknowledge exemplary service that the retirees has provided to our children. And now therefore be it resolved that the Fair Lawn Board of Education does hereby extend its appreciation and gratitude to the retirees in recognition of their exemplary service to our school district. And be it further resolved that the Fair Lawn Board of Education spread this resolution in full upon the minutes and dispatch a copy thereof to the retirees. Ms. Susan Belinsky, wish you all the luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you,
Welcome.
Ron. All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Barbarulo,
Yes.
Ms. Pavelovich,
No S2?
What about S1 and S3?
Yes, for the other ones.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Itkin,
Abstain on S2, yes on the rest.
Mrs. Mahan,
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Santana,
No on S2, yes on the rest.
Mr. Spindell,
No on S2, yes for everything else.
Mr. Banta.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Works back.
E1 through E3.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Barbarulo,
Yes.
Ms. Pavelovich,
Yes.
Mr. Itkin,
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan,
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Santana,
Yes.
Mr. Spindell,
Yes,
Mr. Banta.
Yes. All right, could I have a motion for P1 through P6?
So moved.
I need a second.
second,
Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Barbarulo,
Yes.
Ms. Pavelovich,
No on P6B and everything else, yes.
Mr. Itkin,
No on P6B, yes on everything else.
Mrs. Mahan,
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Santana,
No on P6B, yes on everything else.
Mr. Spindell,
yes,
Mr. Banta.
Yes. Okay, could I have a motion on SE1 through SE3?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Barbarulo,
Yes.
Ms. Pavelovich,
Yes.
Mr. Itkin,
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan,
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Santana,
Yes.
Mr. Spindell,
yes,
Mr. Banta.
Yes. Oh, my doorbell for a minute.
Sorry, that's Brooke telling me to pick up.
I was like, who's at the door? All right, could I have a motion on F1 through F5?
So moved.
F6. F6.
F6. F6.
Other business.
So moved
sorry.
again.
Community.
Second.
We had a mover and a seconder. I was talking.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thanks. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Barbarulo,
Yes.
Mrs. Pavelovich,
Can you come back to me, please?
surely. Mr. Itkin,
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan,
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Santana,
Yes.
Mr. Spindell,
yes,
Mrs. Pavelovich,
Yes.
Mr. Banta.
Yes. We have an addendum, but we have to go into closed session, discuss it before we vote on it. This time, this is all we have for the agenda portion of the meeting. I will now open it up again, once again, to the public for comments or questions on other business. So,
Is one, sorry.
I didn't hear you, Nick. What?
I'm sorry. I was just going to tell them to let the person with their hand up in.
Guys, this is Gunjan Solanki.
Hello.
No, thank you for all the details you've been providing so far. So really appreciate it. I have a few questions,
Sure.
and I'm gonna bullet point it, and then you can take all the questions together, right? So one is, can we please get a weekly email with the stats on how many new cases we have per school? Not really details, just I know you've been sharing those details periodically, but I think a weekly one just to track to see how we are doing.
Okay.
Second, I know we talked about the new in-person schedule that's going to take effect, right? But are we sure it's going to take effect starting after spring break? That's one thing. Second, I need to also know if you're going to ever consider expanding to full days during this school year, or that's something for the future initiative. And to the same effect, are we planning for any catch-up over summer, like summer classes, or any focus sessions for specific topics for kids who need that extra help to kind of bridge the gap between now and next school year, just so we can come up to speed, right? The third question is, what are the plans for upcoming school year, 2021 to 2022? And when, specific dates I would like to have to see when do we get to know about this? Because we at least need to have at least 1 month in advance so that the parents can plan for the kids' school year. And also, if there are going to be any changes to whatever plans we do, please, I would like to have the actual numbers backing the decisions. We cannot say, hey, we're going in red or orange, but something numbers, numbers make sense to people, right? It's logical. So I would like to, have more details around this so we can also understand what the decision was based off of, right? That's my third question. Fourth question, any word on the various color ranges? So 2 meetings prior to this, I was asking, do we have information on the various color ranges? Like, oh, we are going red, or we are in the orange zone. We are, we have to go to yellow, only then things can get a little normal. What are the numbers? What is the statistics that says we are in orange, or we are in red, or we are in yellow, something. So just so we know, right? Because I'm not really sure. I think a lot of other parents have the same question, right? And my last question is, and this is, maybe we can cover the others first, but this is something for also to think about. Could we get the details on this technology audit that was performed? This was mentioned a few meetings ago. And also what items were covered as part of that? What was the findings of that and the resolutions? And are there any items pending?
30 seconds.
All right. And also what happens to the additional $4 million funds that we are receiving? Those are my questions. Go ahead. Thank you for that.
I'm going to go back to your first one, but I'm going to hit the last one first. The $4 million, that was included in the budget presentation last week, as well as it was just voted on just now. So I'm not going to go back and recap the whole budget. We did that presentation last week. And if you want, you could go on to the live stream and catch that video because it was very detailed in there. But now I'm going to go back to your first question. I took notes, and then I did receive your email just a little while ago. It had your bullet points, so that helped as well. Weekly emails, we actually do 10-day updating because that's what the Department of Health does. So the way we sit down and we go through with the Department of Health all of our numbers, and that's why we report out in 10-day periods, because that's what they're doing. If we didn't, we would be overlapping with them, and we didn't want to throw any of the numbers off. So that's why we do 10-day reporting out, the weekly dashboard that you'll find on our district homepage. Second is, we're still on schedule for April 12th. That's still our plan for us to open on April 12th. Full days, at this point, I have to be honest with you, we're taking it day by day and month by month. I don't even want to say we're taking it month by month. We're literally taking it day by day. So at this point, I'm happy that and pleased that we're opening April 12th with more in-person learning. But full days, let's see where we're at. I'm going to skip around now because we still are in the orange. That was one of your questions. New Jersey, the Northeast region is still in the orange. I'm looking at it right now. It looks like the Southwest is in the yellow, but the better half of New Jersey in the Northeast and Northwest New Jersey and a lot of Ocean and Monmouth County is still in the orange level right now. We are looking at catch up during the summer. Dr. Lacatina and Mr. Franco will be working on that, how we could provide opportunities for our students to help them with any academic gaps that we may see. in addition to that September. That is the burning question for everybody. I don't know if you caught Governor Murphy's press conference yesterday or read about it in the news, but he did say his hopes are that everybody is back in school in September. And I'm not sure if you were on the beginning of the meeting, but I did say a lot of our teachers are becoming vaccinated. I feel like the floodgates have opened up from last week's meeting to this week's meeting, which is awesome. So I think things are moving in a positive trend. When will you know about September? It's too soon to tell. But as long as these signs keep pointing in the right direction and things keep moving in the right direction, I'm being very cautiously optimistic and positive that we will be back in September. But as soon as I know, you will know, but you'll probably find out the same time as I do, because a lot of times we find everything out from the state on social media at the same exact time. So we don't get too much of a heads up before the parents do as well. But as soon as I know and I can report out, I will. The tech audit, I know there's been some questions about the tech audit. I will work with the tech department. We're very pleased in the direction that our tech department is moving in. We're very pleased with all the upgrades they've made as per the tech audit. And there was a lot of them. So you know what I'll do? I'll work with them, and then maybe it's something that I could put out and share in a timely fashion. But it's just too much for me to go over right now because it was quite a lengthy document. But I will tell you that it's been really positive.
Okay, all right. So yeah, looking forward to getting that information. Going back to the orange, the bands, right?
Your time is up. Your time is up.
I am responding to his comment. Can I not do that?
All right. Mr. Lansky, go ahead. Another 30 seconds. Go ahead.
So I wanted to know, like you mentioned about counties, but are we taking counties as a whole, or are we actually taking our town as a town also? Because we need to think about that as well, right? We can't really say this region of New Jersey is red, this region, but what about our town statistics?
It's a very good question. It's a very good question. There is town data that comes from the health department, but what they report out on is the COVID-19 activity level report by regions, what they're reporting out on. So our town information, which I believe we were at like 115 or 120 positive cases this week, if I'm not mistaken, in Fair Lawn. But this, what the state reports out on is actually the region information. That's the orange I'm talking about. But we could be in the red in Fair Lawn and the county could be in the orange, and vice versa. Like we could be in the red and the county could be in the yellow. So, I mean, it's just, but right now, what I was speaking of was orange for the region.
So whenever you get a chance, the tech audit report, and also the numbers that actually say this is orange and this is red, that defines it. So whenever you get a chance, if you could send that over, that would be awesome.
That would have to come from the health department. Their formula that they use to tell us we're in the red or the orange. But if you want to email me, I could send you a link to this exact report that I'm looking at right now.
Sure, I will do that. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lund.
We have one more person with their hand up.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, well, first of all, congratulations, because I know educators, many more are being vaccinated. So that's awesome to see. There's a matter of fact, where I work in one of the districts area, one high school is only designated only for educators. So I was really happy to see that in Jersey City. So that's awesome. I know everybody's kind of going everywhere. That's awesome that Valley's opened up to you guys. So congrats to you guys, many of you. I really think that's awesome. Really great news. Absolutely. I have some similar questions to Gunjan. One actually, Nick, you were doing this, which I thought was awesome. Maybe I've kind of lost track on my emails, but you were doing the stats just in the cases within the school district of how many cases of COVID we had. Are you still doing that, or maybe I've lost track on emails?
No, they've been uploaded to our dashboard. So if you go to our website, the first thing you see on every single school, if you go to our website, it's the first thing that pops up. You can't go anywhere else but see that COVID-19 dashboard.
Okay, so it breaks it down amongst the schools?
Yes, breaks it down amongst the schools of students who are hybrid in person who have tested positive.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you still send them in the Friday emails?
We are not sending them in the Friday emails. We had said that we were just uploading them to the dashboard.
Is there any way you could shoot them out again on the Friday emails?
It's not Fridays because it's 10 days, so it's not coming out. That's why I said we're going on 10-day periods.
So it's on the Fair Lawn page, you said, right?
Yeah, if you just go to fairlawnschools.org, it's the first thing you see.
Okay, awesome. Now the next thing is, I know that CDC is reevaluating the 3-foot versus the 6-foot. If they're reevaluated, because we know many districts throughout New Jersey and many across the U.S., which are safer areas to open up, have decided to open up with the 3-foot distance. So if that comes to play and they say that it's safe for us to do, are we looking at getting them back in and maybe redoing a survey at some point before April 12th? If, let's say, by the end of this week, they say, hey, let's do it. Let's do 3 feet across New Jersey.
Our administration is having that dialogue now. If we, we often hear these things and then they take 6 months before we see anything from it. I'm seeing the same articles you are seeing in CDC. You're just seeing them pop up that there's a chance that there could be something that comes out tomorrow about it. Just what I'm being told is even if it comes out tomorrow, doesn't mean that New Jersey is going to necessarily jump on it. I'm not saying that they will or they won't. But it's something that we have to take into consideration. So it's just too soon to tell until we actually really see it come out and see what the details of it really are. I would be happy to see it come out. I think we all would, because that means it's just, once again, that's not a step, that's a leap in the right direction. But we are definitely having conversations about, this could change everything. So yeah, I will update everybody accordingly, but we were having conversations about it today. But what we don't want to do is, as much as we're planning, we're having conversations about what do we do if that comes out moving forward, we don't want to divert all our resources off our April 12th reopening that we're working on right now. Because if it doesn't come out, we don't want to start planning for something that may not happen. I do feel really good about it, and we are having dialogue. Okay, what do we do if it does happen? But right now, we're still planning for April 12th until we know for sure that we could go to 3 feet.
Awesome. I think that's great, because I remember Mark Spindell said in the last meeting, let's not make this the end all till June. Maybe we can rediscuss this if that's what CDC says, and many school districts are going with it, and we feel it's safe to do in Fair Lawn. I think we should rediscuss it in another meeting. So awesome to hear that you guys are having that dialogue. This is a question for Dr. Lucatino. I know that you had mentioned that, Nick, you said that they were working on summer programs. I know a lot of the camps are already starting to do like tentative registrations. So for working parents that are in limbo land of what to do with their kids for the summer, do we have any idea if even a preliminary tentative, like are we looking at half day for these summer school programs? Do we have any idea, Dr. Lucatino, of what we're looking at?
Ms. Rudnick, the superintendent will answer your questions. If he wants to refer it to someone else, he will, but he and I should be addressing you the questions. And if he wants to refer to someone else, that's fine. But he says he's going to answer this one.
Sure. Thanks, Mr. Bantha. I hope Dr. Lucatino can get in on it with you, Nick.
Yeah, at this point, it's too soon to tell what the summer will be like. The March 15th, which was only a couple days ago, literally late in the day, they just opened up the application for how we could spend the federal funds on the summer program. So really, we are still in the infancy phases of planning. So we are having that dialogue about, what it could look like. I understand same conversation we are having in my house right now about camps in the summer and, what do we do with our children? But unfortunately, we just don't have too many details about what it could look like. Dr. Lacattina, did I miss anything on that?
When are you aiming?
we're
Nick?
gonna-
Just so we get an idea, like, are we looking at April? Because a lot of these camps are already looking for registration and money already.
Yeah, no, we're going to be working on it soon. We're going to be working on it soon, but I can't give you a specific date. But we're not going to drop it on you in June. Don't put it that way. We're going to try to, we want to let the parents know as soon as possible, but we need to plan accordingly. Dr. Lacattina, did I miss anything?
Nope, you've got it all.
Awesome. One last question, Nick. Last time you mentioned after school help was still being discussed of how you were going to do it, because I know many of the teachers have done an awesome job with the after school hours on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays with the middle school. You said you guys were talking about it and were thinking about how you're going to alter it or what you were going to do. Any more details on that?
Yeah, the principals will be sharing that with the parents about what it'll look like.
Okay, and then one last positive thing I wanted to tell you. I just saw pictures of it and I thought it was brilliant. I guess in Radburn,
30 seconds.
I have a son there, so it doesn't even relate to him. But I heard the Girl Scouts had like a cookie sale, and Mrs. Lindsay kind of was all positive about that and supported that. And I think that's really awesome and like a positive thing that was done for those young children. Oh, my son actually is saying in the background, did Miss Trollian buy cookies? Oh, my son is saying Mrs. Trollian from Radburn bought cookies. So I think that's really awesome. And he's a boy, so I wasn't even there, but I think that's awesome that happened. I'm still open, Nick. If any of the schools could do an exiting, some kind of positive thing at the end of the year, I think it would be really great for mental health for every school district to do something for the kids. However you want to spread it out or however you want to do it, I think it would just be something really awesome.
Thank you, Ms. Rudnick.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. At this point, there are no more members of the public with their hands up. So we could go to the board members.
Okay, let's go to the board members. Any board members? Other items? Mr. Santana.
Thank you, Mr. Banta. I'm going to start with something right away. On February 22nd, the board approved for the criteria for eligibility for gifted and talented to be posted on the school's website. I would like to respectfully ask, when will the district act on this official board action? But if you can respond that at the end of my comments. I really appreciate the parent that spoke, Ms. Solansky, about the need for us to provide immediate support for students that have fallen behind in certain subjects like math and literacy as a result of the pandemic. I'm very sympathetic of that, and I will be in support of such measures. I want to thank the PTA Council for inviting me to attend their PTA Council meeting in February. I would like to tell all the parents that are watching this, please support your local PTA. They do wonderful things for children. They sponsor a lot of field trips. All the money they raise goes back to our students, our children. So the best way to get involved is to support your local school PTA. So big shout out to all of them, and thank you for all you do. You are truly the lifeblood of our district. I have shared many new ideas with the committee chairs. I would like to thank Mr. Rosenberg, committee chair, for getting back to me, and Mr. Barbarulo for getting back to me on my ideas that I have proposed. There's one committee that have not gotten back to me. I look forward to hearing from that committee. And I want to say something. I know sometimes by some board members, dissenting views may not be welcome. That's how I feel. However, I will be the first to support your freedom of speech. I believe in this country, and I believe in the Bill of Rights, and I believe in being a volunteer for our community. I'm not going to say the name of the board member, but I want to defend that board member who, doesn't agree with a lot of my positions. But I saw a comment on social media. Someone made a comment that was very negative about what that individual does for a living. You do not have to be an educator to be on the school board. You do not have to have multiple degrees to be on the school board. Everybody who's in this school board cares about the children. Everybody who's in the school board knows a lot about education. We do not agree on many things, and that's okay. But please, when we say things, let's try to be careful, because words have consequences. And many of us, every one of us, we are sacrificing time away from our children, grandchildren, wives, and spouses to be here. So you may disagree with us and with me or with anyone, and you have the right to do that, and to speak truth to power. But please, let's be careful with what we say, because, I don't want any of my fellow board members to feel hurt by comments out there, because they're volunteering their time for our children. Okay? So, despite any disagreement we may have, we have to respect that, and we have to separate that with, if you agree or don't agree with someone. But let's do it respectfully, because we're setting an example for our children. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Santana. Any other board members? Vlad.
I wanted to discuss a little bit, maybe a procedural point here. We're voting in, the president of the board votes last, and this is right. The other 8 members of the board always vote in alphabetical order by last name. I frankly envy Mark, whose last name just happens to be the last of the 8 of us. By the time he votes, he already knows how the rest of the votes roll in. I think Rita is first now. I think it's not fair. I think it's kind of, we should all share the difficulties voting first or the easiness of voting last. So I would like to make a suggestion, or a motion rather, to shuffle the board names. We can discuss how to do it, whether we trust Brooke to do it,
Ron, I see it.
or we can do it every meeting, every month. If I can volunteer to maybe create tables using random number generators so that we're in scientifically random order. But the idea is just to shuffle the members how we vote. So that's the motion.
Okay,
I second it.
Okay, Vlad, I hear what you're saying. We did this before.
Yes.
You know, somehow we got back to just doing it by alphabetical. But Ron, you wanted to say something.
No, I was just going to say we changed this about 4 years ago, and Brooke would after every 2 meetings she would rotate just randomly go different people. Even during the meeting, she would every vote would be different. So just let her, does every vote go different. That's all. Out, backwards, forwards, middle, whatever. It's easy. Just let her do it. Let's not complicate it.
Can I ask you a question? Did you mind if we did like a backwards and forward and just rotate however and just keep the names where they are, and Brooke could just call it how she wants and just pick it? Because it's just easier for us record keeping in minutes if the names are all in one direction. And then when we're taking minutes and doing it, rather than them being all over the place for every different motion.
Yeah, that's the way we did it. The name stayed in the same spot. She just rotated it every meeting.
Yeah, I trust Brooke to call us at random.
Brooke, you okay with that?
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem doing that. I think we just got away from it because with Zoom and, you know, having a Google Doc up and the screen on, it's just was easier, but I don't have a problem at all going back to random names.
So Pat, when Brooke's screen freezes, make sure you can scramble everything, right?
I will try.
All right, do we? Oh, okay, Mark, sorry. Ron, you were done?
Nobody asked me. I like being last.
Too bad.
And Ron is first, actually.
Ron first, right?
Well, that was set at a board retreat, and Ron is right. About 4 years ago, we did change.
Do we have to finish the motion on this and on the floor? Good job.
You don't need a motion for this, Vlad. You could withdraw that motion. This is really the discussion that we're having right now. This is up to the board as a discussion item, and then Brooke, however she wants to call the roll. I know boards that do it both ways, alphabetical, or however the board secretary calls the names out. So as long as the board president is last, as is always the case, you can do it any way you want. You don't need a motion for it.
Okay, good.
All right, so Vlad, you're going to withdraw the motion and Brooke will just do it?
Sure, yeah. I'm withdrawing the motion.
Who seconded it, Rita? You okay? You okay with? Okay, great, thank you. Okay, who's next? Mark?
I spoke.
Oh, right, you did. Okay, Mike.
Sorry. All right, sorry about that. I just want to ask my fellow board members if we could try not to automatically make motions during respectfully, we could just have discussions and stuff, but to vote on a motion right away without knowing anything and it's happened like the past few meetings, and it's just difficult to digest right away, and all of a sudden you might decide, oh, wait a second, so let's have discussions at meetings, and then maybe the next meeting, if we want to do it, we put it on the agenda. Unless it's timely, unless it's very timely, I'm saying. Obviously, if it's very timely, it goes the way it goes. It's just respectfully. I would appreciate that.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Any other board members want to speak? No. Okay.
The end, Mr. Banta, if you don't mind. Mr. Santana, I did not forget about your question about the criteria for February 22nd on REACH. We will get back to you on that. I will discuss it with our central office and I'll send an email to the whole board.
Thank you.
Okay. Could I have a motion to recess into closed session?
So moved.
All right, closed session, we're going to be talking negotiations and student matters. Nick, anything else? I know
Yeah, we
negotiations.
have contract,
Contract, that's what it was.
bullying, and a legal matter.
Okay.
Right now, do we have a break?
We're gonna sign off and come back in like 5 minutes. You got a closed session link. By the way, everybody who's watching at home, we're gonna come back out to vote on the addendum, which we'll screen share when we get back. All right. So, all in favor? Sorry, all in favor of?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you. We'll see you in 5 minutes. You guys are fast. I mean, Julie's not so fast. She left 10 minutes ago, but.
Draw McGraw.
I didn't realize that I would be on camera the whole time. So it was
Oh,
a
no.
good thing someone told me.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to like have food hanging out of your mouth or.
She does that all the time. I've seen her.
By the way,
All right. Got everybody? I can't really tell.
Yes.
Okay. Brooke, could you call roll, please?
So I need a motion for addendum 1.
I make a motion.
Second.
Actually, I meant to take an attendance.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Oh, that we're back in open session?
Yeah, that we're back in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or call me.
Yeah, Mr. Barbarulo,
Here.
Mr. Atkin,
here.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Here.
Mrs. Mahan,
Here.
Ms. Favelovich,
Here.
Mr. Santana,
Here.
Ms. Quackenbush,
Here.
Mr. Spindell,
Present.
Mr. Banta.
Here. Okay, thank you. Does anybody able to screen share the agenda? No, everybody has it, right? Do we need to screen share that?
It was actually in the contents of the agenda, Mr.
Was.
Banta. It's after the
Oh, I
F1.
have it. I have it. Public has it.
It was on the
on there
agenda
too.
that was posted. Yeah, it's
Okay.
on the website.
Okay, all right, then we're good. Then we're good. Can I have a motion to for addendum 1?
So move.
Settlement.
Second.
Did we get it? I was talking.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Me.
I have a motion by Mr. Barbarulo, seconded by Mr. Santana for addendum 1, approval of the settlement agreement.
Okay. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Atkin,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes.
Mr. Spindell,
Yes.
Ms. Favelovich,
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo,
Yes.
Mr. Santana,
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan,
Yes.
and Mr. Banta.
Yes. Okay, the next public board meeting is April 29th. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. That's all we have for right now.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question? Are we planning on going live next month? Or
I
when
was
are we?
going to talk to Nick about it and see what how the rest of the board feels. I
So-
don't know.
We're going to send an email out to the board to get everybody's feel on it. At that point, I will leave you with this so that we don't have a long discussion with it. April 12th, we're coming back in person. Things are moving in the right direction. Many school districts are starting to do live meetings. I'm going to leave you, just drop this with you for now, though. We can do it in the high school auditorium. We could spread ourselves out, and there's more than enough seats if people want to come in person and ask questions. We wouldn't have Zoom. We would just, if anybody wants to come, we could go back to having meetings the way we used to have them, spread out, and there's plenty of seats where we could have any attendees that wanted to come up to the microphone and ask questions. It's April 29th, still a far time away, but I will send an email to everybody and try to get a feel for everybody and see if we have majority of the people want to do it, then we could go in that direction. But if not, we will let you know. But I think it's time for us to start thinking about that and getting away from Zoom.
Vlad and then Wilkin.
Nick, I just tried to access the demographic survey from Redburn. I can't have access denied. I'm not sure if it's me or something wrong with it.
I'll take care of that later.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
All right, Wilkin, you had a comment, and then we're gonna.
What do you all think about bringing the board to the neighborhoods? Okay, so I'm fine with bringing the board meeting to the high school, but I think one way to increase public participation will be to bring the board to the neighborhood. let's rotate the like many communities do. Let's rotate the board meetings at different schools. Every public meeting throughout different schools. That way we get the public from the Warren Point community, to come to the board meetings. We get the public from the Lincrest, and we bring the board to the community.
Mr. Santana, that's all due respect. I would ask that we kind of table that conversation to like a little bit, because right now, if we do have it in person in April, we have to do it in a large enough location that if attendees wanted to come, they could be spaced out and we could house it. And the only place we could really do that is the high school auditorium. So I think we should start having that conversation first. And then if the board ever wanted to entertain that conversation, that should be after it. But for now, I think it's just really about, can we have meetings in person and where could we do it? And then we could have that conversation later.
All right.
And maybe it's because we're making record time for board meetings tonight, and I'm a little excited about that.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We will
Have a good night.
be in touch soon. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Right.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks, Joe.